Hello boys and girls, welcome back. This is part 3 of the Autoit tutorial series. If you haven't already done so, please watch the previous 2 videos so you're nicely caught up to speed and we're all on the same page. Now with that being said, we are going to have to go over the more boring parts of Autoit or programming, so to speak, in the next couple of videos. It's just a necessity. We're going to have to get through it. We'll get through it as fast as we can so that we're able to get onto the more fun stuff like automating the browser and all the stuff that you've really come here to learn. Okay, just a quick plug as well. If you haven't already done so, please check out the link in the description for my Autoit course where I go into a lot more detail than seen on the tutorials on YouTube. If you click the link and you're brought to a page to put in your name and email, please do so. That means that you've got there before the course is ready and you'll be one of the first to learn about it and get the early bird discount. Okay, enough of the shameless plugs. Let's move on with today's video. So we need to go over to autoitscripts.com/site. The link will be in the description. If you haven't already looked through the Autoit site, please do so you can get to grips of what it's capable of doing. It's absolutely free to download the editor and code with Autoit. There's nothing to pay whatsoever, no add-ons, no nothing. Now, when you finish looking around, go to Autoit editor and then downloads. Their editor is really good. It's got some really good features that we're going to go over. You want to scroll down and just download the latest version, okay? Depending on when you're looking at this, you just want the, I suggest that you get the full version. They have portable versions, etc. So just current versions and get the latest exe file. It's really slimline, it's really small program. You can put it anywhere on your computer. So just make sure you've got that downloaded. If you need any help, then add me in the Discord, which will be below, or leave a comment and I'll help you out. So all I'm presuming is you've downloaded the editor, okay, and you've got that on your computer and you're ready to go. Again, if you need any help with that or you're getting stuck, give me a shout and I'll be there to help. Okay then, so let's go over to the editor. When you first open the editor, you'll be greeted with a screen like this. This, however, won't be there. Okay, so it's just a blank editor like this. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the basics. Unfortunately, it's some of the more boring stuff with programming, but once you've got a grip of this, you can use this in other programming languages. As you'll find, if you go through different series with me, like I'm doing a JavaScript series and all this, you'll find a lot of similarities. Once you've got the basics of programming, you'll find that a lot of the skills carry over to other programming languages. That's why learning your first programming language is always the most difficult. Once you've got a grip, for example, all programming languages, or as far as I know, all use variables. Okay, there's either arrays, which I'm going to teach you now. All these things continue over to other programming languages. It's just a slight syntax change over, but you'll see a lot of similarities as we go. Okay, so excuse me just for 1 second as I try and get organized. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about, well, the first thing that I'm going to do, and I want you to copy, is put this onto your script. Okay, now what this does, I'm not going to go into great detail, but when you have include, so hash include and message box constraints, that means that we can use all the functionality that's included with message boxes. Okay, I'm going to go into detail what that means in later videos, but just put it on there. That just means that we can use message boxes basically. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk to you about is variables. Okay, if you've been following my channel and you've been using stuff like Browser Automation Studio, you've been using variables, as you know. What a variable is a placeholder. See, it is a box, a placeholder, a folder that can store information that we can use later on. So how we declare a variable is, and again, I'm going to talk about scope later, we can have a local variable, or we can have global variables, okay? And I'm going to talk to you, like I said, I'm going to talk to you about scope in later videos, but for now, we're going to say local, okay? And then we're going to put the $sign, and then you can name your variable whatever you want, but obviously make sure that it makes sense to what you're doing. So for example, local name, okay? And I can leave it like that. Now I've declared a variable called name. There's nothing inside that variable, okay? But we have a variable, yay. Now what I could do is put equals, and then if it's going to be a string, I could do this, so quotation marks around it, and then now I have a local variable called name, and inside that variable is the string Dean, okay? Now, a variable can hold a number, okay? It can have a float, okay? It can have, when you're doing numbers or a float, you don't need to put quotation marks around it, okay? Then it can have a string. When you use the string, then you put the quotation marks around it, okay? And you can also, another one that we're going to use is Boolean. A Boolean is either true or false. That's all that a Boolean is. So yes or no, 0, 1. Okay, true or false. So this can be used, you know, when we're doing browser automation. Have I followed? Has that user been followed? True or false, and so on. There'll be many uses for it, but that's one that we definitely need to know. Okay, so you can also do stuff. So we could have, so let's do, actually, let me just show you how message box works, because we'll be using that a lot to demonstrate results for now. So I can say message box, MSG box. Okay, so if you start typing it in, the good thing about the editor is it will try and predict what you're trying to do. So as soon as I type in MS, it's going to pull it up, enter, boom. Now we use the curly braces, and don't worry, once you get used to this, it's fine. And another really good thing about the editor, let's just put that in. I'm going to put the curly, the curly braces. I'm going to do that, and then you'll see it tells you what it needs. Okay, look, flag. So a flag is just, in this case, the type of message box, like if you want it with an alert. So we're always going to use 0 for now. And don't worry if this, you know, just follow along and it will all make sense as we go. So it tells you what we need. So we need a flag, comma, the title of the message box, comma, and the text or what's inside the message box. So we're going to do 0, flag. Okay, the title is going to be, in quotations, test. And the data that we're going to put in, just to show you, is Dean is bald. Okay, and then close it up, and then we hit save, which is Control S, or you can come to File and Save, and then we click F5 to test or to run. You can also do it up here too, if I can find the, yeah, it's here, test run. Okay, or go, sorry, go. F5. Okay, Dean is bald. Thanks a lot, computer. Okay, so that's how message boxes work, just so that's clear for as I show you other stuff. So what we can do is as well, so just to show you variables in a bit more detail, we could say local, and then we could say first name equals, and then we can say Dean, okay, and then we could say local second name or surname, but name equals Ward, okay, and then what we could do is we could say local, and the local and the global I'm going to talk about in the next video, so don't worry, just follow along. and I'll talk about scope later on. So I could do full name equals, and then what we could say is, sorry, I'm trying to think, there's so many programming languages going through my head. First name, and you'll see as we start to type that it gives you what it thinks the result's going to be, so it predicts for you, so it's really nice. So if it's the one you want, or you can go up and down with your arrow keys, first name, and then we want for auto it's the and symbol, and then the quotations, and then another at symbol. If I can find, my goodness, it's going to be one of them days today. And then we can do second name, sorry. Okay, so now what we've done, we've got a variable called first name, and it holds Dean. Then we've got the second name, which holds Ward. And then we've got a variable called full name, which equals first name plus the second name. And what this part does is leaves a space. So we're concatenating the strings, but we need a space. So then let's do our message box. So message box, and then flag 0. And then we want the title, we'll just call it test again. You need to put it in quotation marks. Okay, and then what do we want as the text? Well, let's use the variable. So full name. Close it up. Let's save. And then if we hit F5, whoa, there we go, Dean Ward. And just to show you, if we wouldn't have, we would have done something like that, I don't even know if it will work. 5, no. Oh, if I would have said plus, then it's not going to work because it sees it as adding them together. Look, 0. Okay. So yeah, that's how you use variables. Another variable type that there is called const. Okay, so you've got local, you've got global, and const. And what const is once you declare it. So if I put const main number, I don't know, number equals 50. Once that's declared, that's it. You can't change it. So if later on in the script I said main number equals 40, then it's going to give me an error, because once you've declared it, you can't change it. You can with local and global, but we're going to get into scope and all that later on, like I said. So that's variables. Just to recap too, do it by hand. So this, let's just say stuff, and this could equal, like I said, 5. It could be a float. I think you get the idea. So that's variables. So next, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about, I've talked about the concatenating them, the types. We've got message boxes. Let's do a little bit of math. Let's do some math. So boring, I know, but we have to do this. So let's do a variable. Let's call it cash1, and then cash1 local cash1 equals 100. Okay, local cash2 equals 200. Naughty, naughty. You have to have the $sign. That's how you declare variables. Okay. So, and then we could have local, and then we could have total equals, and then we could have cash1, and then plus cash2. Okay. And then what we can do is do our glorious message box. So flag 0. What's the title? Let's call it money. And what do we want to display in the message box? We want to display the total. Okay. Let's close that up. Let's save. Let's try and save. okay, and hit F5. There you go. 100 plus 200, guys, is 300. Now you know. Okay, so what can we do here? We could go minus, so now it's minus 100. We could change this to, let's just change it to make it simple. We could do times, which is the star, 50, 10 times 5 is 50, great. And we can do, you can also do divide, which is like that, just covering all the things that you're going to need. So that's maths, basically. Like I said, I go a lot deeper into this in the course, so check that out if you're really trying to get into Autoit. So next, let's talk about arrays. If you've been using Browser Automation Studio, and I will be referring to that a lot because it's taught in other videos on this channel, and I know a lot of you are coming from Browser Automation Studio, but you've worked with lists on there. Well, an array is similar to a list. We can do a lot more with it, but let's get into that. Let's quickly show you an array. Array is basically a list. Okay, we'll just see it that way for now, and we'll get deeper into it. So how we declare an array is local. Again, I'll talk about scope later. And then let's have friends. And then we are going to say, trying to think of my programming languages now. We'll put 2. So that means we've created an array, okay, and it has 2 slots, so to speak, okay, 2 areas that we can use. Now there is ways where we don't have to declare that, but again, start off simple. So then we can say that in this array that has 2 slots open, that friend number 1 is called James, okay, and then comma, and then friend number 2 is called Lee. Oh goodness. Okay. What am I doing? There you go. Okay, so let's go back to our old faithful message box. So message box, and then we could say again flag 0, and then we're going to say title is friend, needs to be in quotation marks, okay, and then how you output or grab one of these friends, okay, is what you do is you put friends, and then you put it in brackets like this. So if I put 1, okay, like that, close it up, save, Lee. Now you're probably thinking, why has it said Lee when number 1 is James? Well, like most programming languages, we start at 0. Okay, so oh no, did I stop? Oh, I didn't stop it. So if I change this to 0, hit F5, there you go. So now it's James. Okay, so that's one way that we can decide which item we want to work with in the array. It's called an array. Okay, we can also do loops to go through these, but that's for another video. Okay guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to do these videos in nice little chunks. So we've talked about working with message boxes, and you know how to use a message box. We've talked about variables and the types. We'll talk about scope later, but there's local, there's global, and there's const. Okay, we've talked about what we can put inside a variable and how we can concatenate strings, and we've done some maths as well, and you've learned in the basic form what an array is basically a list. Okay guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Check out the links in the description, and I will catch you in the next video, where unfortunately we're going to have to go over some more boring stuff. However, if you're picking this up, then you're learning a skill for life, because this can all be transferred to other programming languages, such as when we get into JavaScript and other stuff like that. And also you're just priming yourself up to get onto the fun stuff like browser automation. Okay guys, I'll catch you in the next video.